Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about how to get better at photography and specifically in this video, my top 3 tips. I want to start with an overarching tip that in my opinion is a better way than even these YouTube videos of finding the ways to improve your photography because I think it could be different for everyone. And that overarching tip is to analyze the work of your favorite photographers. For me, that's meant finding my favorite photographers and really going through their work as a whole and looking at the evolution of their work and themes in their work. In my case, I find my favorite photographers on Instagram, and I may actually screenshot their photos, drag it into an artboard of sorts. In this case, I use Figma, and I'll look for themes, whether it be contrast, lighting, color, etc., to see what it is that I really like about their photo. The goal here isn't to copy a particular photographer's style or their art, but it's to figure out what it is about their work that caught your eye. Why, when scrolling upon thousands of photos, you click on their photo and it draws your attention, and to figure out how to incorporate what sort of magic they're putting together into your own photography. One thing I learned during this process is that I really needed to focus on lighting. All of my favorite photographers were either up at sunrise or taking photos at sunset, and I was either asleep at sunrise or eating dinner at sunset. Shooting landscapes, I kept focusing so much on the subject, hiking to a particular destination and putting little to no effort in what the lighting conditions were like. I assumed, well, if it's overcast, I can make a moody edit type of photo. I essentially overlooked lighting before doing this analysis, and that made a lot of my photos really fall flat. You can check out my Instagram on the link below, and if you scroll down a ways, you'll eventually see a lot of just landscape photos that are just pure middle of the day or really whenever I happen to be hiking. And I feel like a lot of them, while they're cool shots of a landscape, they don't offer anything particularly special photography wise because the lighting to me just seems kind of dull or flat, and that's purely due to a lack of attention to it. So now with my overarching tip, which is to analyze the work of the photographers that you really like and pick out themes, write it down if you have to, that you find in their work. Now let's get down to the 3 tips that I have that I extracted from this type of analysis and just my experience. Number 1 is tell a story. And I feel like this is talked a lot about in the videography space, the movie making space.
Number 1. The most important thing is, of course, the story.
I feel like telling a story is mentioned a lot in wedding photography, but in terms of landscapes or street photography, I feel like telling a story is not brought up enough. One of the main benefits that I saw when I tried to start telling a story with my photography is suddenly it required that I shoot from different perspectives. If you're just going out trying to get a shot, let's say of a bridge, you may walk to the bridge and get straight across from it, wait for the perfect light, and then shoot that bridge, right? Telling a story for me, it changed the way I saw shooting a bridge. What is the actual story of this bridge? Is there a memorial or plaque around it? It forced me to focus on some details. Is it rusted over? Can you get close shots at sunset as well as a far away shot? So now instead of going to this bridge and setting up a tripod or just walking by it and trying to get a sunset shot, you can actually focus on the different perspectives and telling this story. So now you get a shot that's kind of close up. You get a shot while you're on the bridge looking off of it. You get a shot of a biker crossing, and then you get a close-up shot of the details of the metal, or if it's a wooden bridge, of the actual floor or base of the bridge. And then you can end with this final, here's the bridge shot. And for me, this changed my outlook of photography and how I shot from really shooting like buffet style, where I was just kind of walking around getting photos of sometimes really cool environments, but I was just taking that one photo and moving along to the next big destination, to really focusing on one subject and capturing it from its different angles and perspectives. So the next tip I have is to have a clear subject in mind. And when I say subject, I don't just mean people, I mean environments, objects, whatever you're shooting. Have a clear subject, and then have your environment or the light or both support that subject. The advice here is going to vary from photo to photo and photographer to photographer, but for me, I found in a lot of my photos, sometimes I would have a clear subject, but there would be something kind of interesting to the side, and maybe the subject was actually darker than that interesting item to the side, so your eyes were actually naturally drawn not to the subject, but this other thing, when what I should have done was either compose in the moment for the actual subject, wait for the lighting to change to highlight the subject, potentially crop out this item to the side. There are lots of things that you can do to change where the eye is naturally drawn to, but making sure that there is a clear subject and either get rid of the clutter or have the clutter support that subject somehow. I think part of what comes along with having a clear subject is keeping it simple. And oftentimes this means just composing your shot with as few distractions as possible in it. One of the last tips I have helped me a lot for minimal effort. And that tip is to put in minimal effort to every shot. I'm 6'2", and what that means is that often my angle is pretty high from a lot of my shots. So honestly, just crouching down to make sure things are level a lot of times improved my photography a ton. This is something that became really present when I did the photo shoot for the restaurant where I live. I made a video about that. You can check it out. I'll link it to here. But just getting down lower for a shot made a world of difference in perspective. It's easy with digital cameras to snap a lot of photos, assume you have the right one or that you'll correct it in post, making sure things are aligned and centered as perfect as you can get them in camera. This not only sped up the editing process, but some photos just wouldn't have been salvageable had I not gotten to a different perspective to take that photo. This is a super basic tip, but just making sure you have the composition as close to perfect as possible in your camera can't be stressed enough. This means actually just getting down low and taking the shot from the correct perspective and taking the time to compose the image and seeing it in your viewfinder or on your LCD while you're down at that level. I feel like changing your position also just slows you down. If you just reach down to take a photo or reach up or to the side or wherever, rather than actually changing your body position, I feel like you're more likely to just not pay attention to that shot. But if you actually move, it slows things down and you become just more patient with getting it framed correctly because you're already there. All right, so that's it for my tips. So we have an overarching tip to analyze your favorite photographer's work. Then we have the first tip to tell a story, have a clear subject and keep it minimal. And number 3 is just to put in minimal effort when you're composing a shot. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. Please drop a comment below if you found this helpful or if you'd like for me to dive into any of these topics in more detail. Sorry I haven't posted in a while. I just got back from a trip to Guatemala where I hiked a volcano and had an awesome trip to Lake Adelon, and I'll be posting photos or a video with a series of my favorite shots from there in maybe the next video. I have over 1,000 photos, so that may take a while. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content. It helps a lot. Until next time, thanks.